if you are in a relationship that is toxic with your mom or abusive, I want to apologize to you. It's not your fault. I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. So if you are in those type of relationships, I want to say you still love and you still valuable and you still are going to be an amazing mother one day to break that cycle.
Life, fly, life, bitch can't do it like me. Fresher than a new white tee. Fly life, we gon' eat. Fly life, way too deep. Fly, life, fly, life, fly, life, fly, life. Bitch can't do it like me. Fresh like a new white tee. Fly life, we gon' eat. Fly life, way too deep.
What's up? This is your girl Fly. Welcome to the Fly Life Podcast. Yes, we are dropping a brand new podcast and I'm so excited. Listen, I can't even tell you how excited I am, but this podcast is curated for teenagers because on this podcast, you know what we do? We answer teen questions, all right? Teen questions answered. That's what we do. Podcast called Fly Life. Listen, make sure you're following us right now on all major platforms, either at Fly Inside Out or FlyLife.org. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Please subscribe to our channel. Because listen, we're going to be putting out some amazing content. These questions are directly from teenagers. All right, I'm going to say this again. These are real life teenagers that sent me in questions. And a lot of times I don't even know their name because they're anonymous questions, right? Because that gives them the courage to be able to send in the questions. But these are things that are on teenagers' hearts, right? And so it's my job to come and say, you know what? I'm going to answer some of these questions live. I'm not saying that I know all things. Let me put that out there again. I'm not saying that I know all things and that I'm an expert in all things, but I do believe in tapping into wisdom. And so I have a lot of mentors that I follow with my own personal relationship with God. I pray about things. I have a lot of life experiences. And so I just tap into some of those things and I offer advice. Now, this is just my advice. Please make sure that you only take my advice and you decide whether or not it's good for you or something you should apply to your life. I'm going to say that again. It's just my advice. But I do believe that there's something that I can say that inspires somebody, that gives an answer to someone that can make their life go further and faster and better, right? And so that's the goal. I just want to help you fly, be fly inside and out. That's always our mission. And so with that being said, we're going to jump into some of these questions. But again, welcome to the Fly Life Podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow. Make sure you share because it's about to be on and popping. All right. Again, let's jump into these questions. So I'm going to pull out my phone. Now, if you have a question that you would like to send in to me, you can download our app. It's Fly Life. It's on Droid platform as well as Apple. It's a free app. Download it. Drop your anonymous question. Nobody will know it's from you. I'll be able to see the question and I will come and answer a lot of the questions on this podcast. All right. So every podcast, we're going to go through different questions. And sometimes I may even have a guest or two. But the whole thing is to taking out time to answer your questions and giving you the content you need for the answer that you need in order to fly and go high in life. Right. So that's the goal. So again, download the Fly Life app. It is free. Before I jump in, let me tell you a little bit about myself. All right. So I am from ATL, Georgia. What we do for you. All right. I'm from the ATL, Atlanta, Georgia, here in the United States of America. And I'm excited, man, to grow up in Atlanta. But just a little bit about me. My mom had me when she was 16. I love my mom. I call her my shero. I watched my mom go from being a teen mom that didn't go to college right away to starting a business that earned six figures and been owning that same business for almost 30 years. So I saw my mom go through a lot of people telling her she wasn't going to be successful because she had me early. She decided not to pursue college right after high school. It wasn't her passion. She had another passion for cosmetology. She started her first business. And now almost 30 years later, she's made so much money, probably seven figures in that business, if not more. And it's just been a blessing to watch her grind from the ground up. And so I'm super proud of my mom. She's my shero. And then my dad unfortunately got addicted to crack during the crack epidemic. I'm an 80s baby. And, you know, just growing up with some of those struggles and missing my dad, wanting to have a relationship with my dad, but, you know, he wasn't there due to his addiction. And even though me and my dad relationship has been restored and we're actually close now, I learned a lot about daddy the need to have dad's approval and affirmation. And because he wasn't there throughout most of my childhood consistently, that left a lot of holes and voids in my heart. That led to a lot of decisions that I made, a lot of feelings that I felt. Even to this day, I'm still unpacking some of my rejection fears, my fear of rejection, my fear of abandonment. But it all can stem back to that relationship. And so even though our relationship is restoring and is in a healthy place, the residue of that impacted me as a teenager. And so why am I telling you some of these things? Because I want to show you that I too have lived through life. At 16, I got arrested for busting somebody's head open with a golf club. So I understand fighting. I understand violence. I used to carry razors in my mouth. This is before guns got real accessible. I thank God I wasn't born in this generation at this time where guns in the United States are very accessible, because I do feel like I would have been a teenager that carried a gun. And I wasn't wise enough to know how to be responsible with a gun. And so also, growing up in the house, seeing domestic violence, seeing violence as in my community where I'm from, really the south side of Atlanta, College Park to be exact, we were raised like if somebody disrespect you, you disrespect them. You handle an issue or a conflict with violence. So that's how I was raised. And so that led me to getting arrested at 16 because I was trying to handle something by using violence, and it wasn't the right way to handle it. And so I'm taking all of my experiences, whether through heartbreak of relationships, whether through insecurity, fears of rejection, abandonment, growing up in a house, seeing violence in my community, actually being arrested, all these different things. At even one point in my life, I became suicidal, got sick, lost all my hair. I've been through so many things. And my thing is that I don't go through nothing for me. The whole purpose of going through something is to pay it forward, to give you the wisdom that I learned from the lessons that I experienced or the experiences that I went through, so that you can learn how to navigate through your circumstance and or learn from me and don't have to go through the same trouble. So that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm starting the Fly Life podcast, because I want teenagers to be equipped to navigate through these crazy times. I know the statistics of anxiety are up right now amongst teenagers. I know that self-harm is up right now amongst teenagers. And these are different things that I care about. But I want to equip you because I believe in this generation. I believe in young people. I believe that you are created to do great things, powerful things. And if you just had the tools necessary and the information, sometimes information can transform your mind, which your mind can transform your life. And so I want to give you as much information as I can so that you could go out here and you can win. That's all I want you to do. I want you to win. And so I just had to give you the heartbeat behind Fly Life podcast, because if you know the heartbeat, you know that I take every question seriously and I put everything into it. All right. So we're going to get started now and jump into our first question. First question of today, though: how do you start self-healing and focusing on yourself? This is from a 16-year-old. How do you start self-healing and focusing on yourself? All right. So let's just talk about self-healing for a second. Again, we're living in a very delicate time in history where there's a lot of trauma happening. Trauma is basically some type of experience or event that happens that really impacts your emotions, impacts your body in a way that throws off your normal rhythm. And so trauma could be something like witnessing something of violence, losing a loved one, being abused, a harsh or hard breakup or separation from a loved one. There's so many things that could be traumatic. However, when you're talking about healing, healing definitely starts with acknowledging that you're worthy of it, right? Acknowledging that you are worthy to be healthy, you're worthy to be whole, you're worthy to be healed, right? And so once you know that about yourself, now it's like going forward to the steps. I will always recommend, whenever you've been through something traumatic, especially if it's severe, I recommend therapy. I know some people think it's taboo, but I think therapy is very powerful. especially when you're talking about in your schools. Y'all have access to trained licensed counselors. Tapping into some of those resources to make sure you have a trusted adult that can walk you through some of the things that you have experienced that is traumatic. Again, I want to say that we're living in a sensitive time, and trauma is very relevant right now. Why? Because we just came out of a global pandemic. I read a statistic somewhere between 5 to 7 million young people lost a guardian during COVID globally. I'm going to say that again. Somewhere between 5 to 7 million young people lost a guardian due to COVID. So we're talking about in the last 3 years, someone lost the person that takes care of them. And so that is extremely traumatic. And with healing, you need someone else to help walk you through that. Because what we'll do, we'll find things to help us cope temporarily with the pain of it. But finding a trained professional that helps walk you through the steps necessary to heal that. If you are a person of faith, I am a Christian. I believe in prayer, prayer, meditation, writing, journaling, but just really tapping into another person that's trained to walk you through that trauma. I think that is very important and it shouldn't be overlooked. So also when it comes to self-love, again, this is why I started off telling you are worthy. Here's the thing. You didn't have to be created. So the fact that you're here lets you know that you're worthy. And why do I say that? Because if you are in a relationship that is toxic with your mom or abusive, I want to apologize to you. It's not your fault. I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. So if you are in those type of relationships, I want to say you still love and you still valuable and you still are going to be an amazing mother one day to break that cycle. A lot of people want to love everybody, but they don't want to take the time to love you. The first step of loving yourself is learning yourself, figuring out who you are, being proud of who you are, accepting who you are, embracing who you are, whether that's your personality type, whether that's the hobbies that you like, whether that's the way that you process information. Some people ask a lot of questions. We call those green personalities. Some people are very empathetic and warm and fuzzy and want to take care of people all the time. We call those blue personalities. Then you have orange personalities. Those are our adventurous people, right? You have gold personalities. Those are our people that like structure. And if you want to know more about the personality test that I'm describing, it's called True Colors Personality Test. Look it up on Google. Take it for free. Figure out about who you are. Figure out your love language. Figure out, the things that you're passionate about. That may lead you to what your purpose is. But that is how you fall in love with you. By learning you, embracing you, and accepting you, and understanding that you were not a mistake, that you're here for a purpose, that you were created to do something amazing. And every day begin to start telling yourself something positive about yourself. Whether that's an affirmation or a confession or something that you're saying to yourself every day that reminds you of your greatness. Whether it's saying, you know what, my hair texture is just fine. My face is just fine. I'm beautiful even with or without a filter. I'm beautiful even without my hair being done. One thing I do with my daughter who's 1 year old, when she wakes up in the morning, a lot of times I tell her she's beautiful. As she wakes up, her hair is all over the place, but I want her to embrace her as who she is organically before she does anything else to change her appearance, right? And I want to tell you the same thing. You are enough. You are beautiful. Start those affirmations. Get in therapy if you have been through something severely traumatic, and begin to learn more about who you are, spend time with you, and celebrate you. All right, so we're going to go to another question. Grab my phone again. Let's see what the teenagers are asking. All right. How can you build stronger and healthy relationships with friends, families, and or your partner? How can you build a stronger and healthier relationship with your family, friends, and or partner? Here's the thing. I always tell people in order to build a healthy relationship, there's a couple things. Because you have your partners or people that you like, bae, whatever you want to call them. That's a choice. You choose who you're in a romantic relationship with. Then you have family. You do not choose what family you're born into. And then you have friends, which you choose. So two of them you choose, one you're is an inherited thing, right? So here's the thing. I will always tell people the first steps of beginning a healthy relationship is starting with making sure you're healthy, maintaining a healthy you. Because when you're healthy, you see healthy things and you attract healthy things better. What do I mean by healthy? Are you a positive thinker? Are you a person that solves conflict without being violent? Are you a person that roots for yourself and other people? Are you a person that doesn't belittle yourself or other people? Like, become a healthy individual so that when you are attracting friends or romantic partners, you are attracting healthy relationships and you know what they look like. If you are in a relationship with somebody that begins to talk down to you, but you have a healthy relationship with yourself and you don't talk down to yourself, you're going to get a check. You're going to get a check in your gut and you're going to be like, that feels weird. That feels off. That ain't right. So guess what? Now you're not going to embrace that relationship because you say that's not healthy. I don't even talk to myself in that way, right? Another way of thinking about it is you want to make sure that you're in a relationship that supports you going forward in your dreams, your purpose, your life, your goals. You got to make sure that you're thinking that way for yourself. So when somebody comes and they seem like they're throwing shade on your dreams and your goals, you can be like, hold up. This is not healthy. Let me not embrace this relationship. Because here's the thing. A healthy relationship is going to help push you forward towards purpose and not pull you away from purpose. I'm going to say that again. A healthy relationship is going to push you towards purpose and not pull you away from purpose. So if you have a relationship that's abusive, they're putting their hands on you, they're talking about you, they're belittling you, they're always talking down your dreams, or you'll never make it to the WNBA or the NBA, or you'll never start that business, or you'll never create that clothing line, or you suck as a designer. If you have people like that, those are unhealthy relationships. Why? Because they're pulling you away from purpose and not pushing you towards it. And so that's a great indicator. Now, when it comes to family, let's deal with family for a second. Family, like I said, you inherited family. You don't get to choose them like you get to choose friends and romantic partners. So with family, here's the thing. If you have people in your family and you feel like the relationship is unhealthy, be willing to sit down and have a conversation. Say, hey, talk to them about how you feel. If they're not open to receive how you feel, then you know what? Sometimes, depending on if they're an adult and you're still a minor, you may not get them to see your perspective. And if you can't, you just make sure you're healthy with them, but you put a note in your mind like, you know what? Maybe they're not in a place with themselves yet where they can be healthy for me. So let me set some boundaries. Setting boundaries are healthy. That just allows yourself not to get hurt and disappointed over and over again. There's people in my life I say, you know what? They can't help push me towards purpose because right now they're confused about their own. So sometimes they project their unhealthiness onto me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a boundary and know not to let them in that deep emotionally with me until they're healthy or in a place to do so. And maybe they never will be, and I love them from a distance. So creating healthy boundaries is another thing that I would say. But it is possible to develop strong relationships and healthy relationships, but make sure as you are doing so and seeking that you're seeking building a healthy relationship with yourself. Because the more you're healthy, the more you're going to attract healthy. All right? Cool beans. All right, let's go to another question. Pick up my phone. Let's see. All right, a teenager asked me this. She said, how do you feel about men providing and women providing? How do you feel about men providing or women providing? That's a hot topic on social media right now. Or feel about women paying bills. All right. So this is my personal opinion. Again, I told you this is all my opinion, my thoughts from my experiences. I have no problem with a man providing for his family. I think it's honorable. I think it's dope. I have no problem with a woman providing for her family. I think it's honorable and I think it's dope. I think the issue comes when people begin to use people for what they can do for them and they don't love them. I think the issue also comes into place where People put value on people based on what they can do for them or how much money they can provide for them. I do not equate value with money. So I don't think a man is more valuable just because he can provide for his family. I don't think a woman is more valuable because she can provide for her family. I think true value is in the essence of who we were created to be as individuals. And I think that sometimes we put too much value on money. However, money is important. I think there's value and honor in providing for your family. So I have no problem with a man providing for his family. I have no problem with a woman providing for her family. I have a problem when people use money just to take advantage of people. They really don't care about the person. They care about what the person can do for them. I think that I see that a lot more in society today. I do believe in teamwork too. Like, if that man needs help providing for his household, that woman helping to provide, I see no problem with that. I believe that there's power in teamwork and building together. I also know there are some seasons where there may be a season where the man is the sole provider. I see no problem with that, long as that's taking they're on the same one accord with that as a team, and it's taking their family towards their family goals. I don't have a problem if there's a season where the woman is the sole provider. Long as they're on one accord as a team and it's helping them get to where they're trying to go as a family. And so I think it really depends on the dynamics of that particular relationship. But I don't think that anybody should put themselves in a position to be used by anybody, because that's abuse and that's violence towards yourself, to allow somebody to use you or abuse you for what you can do for them financially. I don't think you should use people, and I don't think you should position yourself to be used. So you have to use wisdom on knowing when somebody is just there for what you can do for them or if somebody is there for you. And I think we got to put more value on loving people, not loving what they can do for us, and building together and figuring out what works best for you as a unit. And so, like I said, I think it's very honorable for a man to take care of his family. I think it's very honorable for a woman to contribute to taking care of her family as well. But I do think there is an issue when we make resources more valuable than people. I think that I have a problem with that. So I hope I answered your question. And now I'm going to go on to the next question. All right, next question. Y'all got some good questions. Y'all already think about provision as teenagers? All right, so friends that flirt with their friend's boyfriend or girlfriend. Okay. Friends that flirt with their friend's boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm gonna say this real simple. If someone is flirting with your boyfriend, if your friend is flirting with your boyfriend or flirting with your girlfriend, they not your friend. It's that simple for me. Like, I don't have no gray lines when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm very big on respect, and I feel like when my friends are dating someone, that person automatically becomes like a brother or a sister to me. And that's how I treat it as such. So there's certain things I just don't do. So if I am, my friend has a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I'm not, trying to sit on their lap or hugging them too tight and holding on and playing in their hair and touching their hand and constantly complimenting how good they look. Like, there's boundaries that has to be in place, because if you don't have boundaries, you out of order. So even as a teenager, if you have friends that are flirting with your significant other, they're not your friend. And you probably want to separate from that. And then you also want to pay attention to how your significant other is responding to that. If your significant other is engaging in the flirtation, then you might want to question both relationships, right? Because here's the thing. Here we go back to healthy relationships. If it is a healthy relationship, whether it's a friendship or significant other, they're going to put boundaries in place to protect your heart. Because in a healthy relationship, they're going to value your feelings. And if your best or your friend is flirting with your significant other, they don't value your feelings. So that's when you have to question if that's a healthy relationship, and you got to question if that's your friend. And in my own words, that ain't your friend. So you might want to cut ties with that relationship. So that's how I answer that question, real quick and simple. What's up? This your girl Fly coming to you live talking about Fly Life. Yes, Fly Life, a girls mentorship program for girls ages 11 to 18 years old. What are we here to do? Empower you to be fly inside out. Yes, you can now join Fly Life without going to one of our schools. I'ma say that again. I just dropped some heat. You can now join Fly Life without going to one of our schools. How? Online. Whether you're on Apple, whether you're on Droid, it doesn't matter. Download the Fly Life app. In our app, we have amazing curriculum that you can do in the app. I'ma say it again. We have amazing curriculum that you can do in the app. And we're gonna talk about different topics, different subjects. We're gonna have different courses, such as a course on emotional health, a course on how to have healthy relationships, a course on how to manage conflict, a course on how to become a boss, get that money, be an entrepreneur. And matter of fact, we're gonna give away some money this year, a lot of money this year. So you wanna sign up and be a part of Fly Life. If you are between the ages of 11 and 18, this is for you. Sign up today by joining our app. And guess what? I'm gonna drop a little nugget as well. The Fly Life Conference is coming bigger than ever before. And you can watch the conference online on any of our pages, whether at YouTube, go to our website to get to our YouTube, and you can even watch the conference in our app. Make sure you're following us online at flylife.org or go to our website at theflylife.org. It is our goal to empower you to be fly inside out. This year is going to be one of our biggest yet, one of our most impactful yet. Make sure you're a part. Checking out your girl Fly. Peace. So here's another question. It's a good one right here. What do you do when your boyfriend still texts his ex off an account where you don't have the password? All right. What do you do when your boyfriend is still texting his ex off an account that you don't have a password to? All right. So my first question to you is be like, how you know he's doing it? Did you catch him? Did you see it? Did you go snooping around? Do you have true evidence? Or are you just kind of, got a feeling? Which I'm not saying ignore that feeling, but I am saying make sure before you do anything that you have true evidence that it happened, right? Or that you ask him. You just ask him. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to tell you the truth. But let's say, hypothetically, you know for a fact he is texting his ex off an account you don't have the password to. I would say, well, y'all need to have a conversation because clearly, based off your question, it seems like you are expecting a monogamous situation. And if he is not honoring the boundaries in which you have set place, y'all need to have a conversation. And here's another thing. Have y'all set boundaries? Have y'all agreed that, hey, we should not be talking to our exes? What are your boundaries? Every relationship is different. If you value not tapping into old relationships and old feelings from the past, you have to communicate that. You have to let them know, hey, I'm not comfortable with you texting your ex and y'all having these side conversations. I don't feel comfortable with that. That doesn't make me feel secure in the relationship. Because there's a difference between being insecure in who you are as an individual and being insecure in a relationship. Insecure in a relationship means that I really don't know if I can trust my heart with you. And so I need us to create boundaries where I can feel more secure with trusting my heart with you. That's a difference between just being insecure as a person. And sometimes people try to manipulate you, like, oh, you're just insecure. No. You're insecure in how you feel about the relationship. There's a difference. So don't let anybody manipulate you. Go to that person, give them your heart about it, communicate, ask questions, don't accuse unless you have evidence, and have a conversation. Now, if it continues, then you need to question, hey, do you need to stay in that relationship? Because clearly that person doesn't value your feelings. And you never want to be with a person that doesn't value your feelings and how you feel and doesn't respect your boundaries or your standards. So that would be my advice to you. All right. Next question. All right. Let's see. Man, y'all are sending some great questions in. Make sure, again, download the Fly Life app so I can get your question. I might answer it on the next podcast. All right. How do you deal with a boyfriend that gets angry over the littlest things and that wants to fight every guy that tries to talk to you? Woo. So listen, That's a red flag. Red flag on the play. Time out, time out, time out, time out. If you have a boyfriend that is like super insecure, super jealous, every time you talk to somebody, he wants to fight everybody, that is a problem. That person has trust issues. Here's the thing about trust issues. We may all, have a moment where we feel, a little anxiety on whether we should trust somebody or not. But there's a difference between a person that has severe trust issues and that's projecting on you and that seems to be almost possessive. Here's the thing, we do not belong to anybody. You are not anybody's possession. You should be able to come and go as you please. However, in a relationship, a committed relationship, there should be boundaries. But if a person is coming off as more controlling, more like he gets angry, he's trying to fight people, he bringing in violence, those are two red flags that person can potentially be abusive. Whether it's emotionally abusive, verbally abusive, or physically abusive, you have to watch out for those red flags. Here's the thing, a person will show you who they are. You just got to believe them. If they have anger issues now about who you talk to, if they have as a teenager and they have anger issues and they're trying to fight people because they're talking and communicating with you around you, those are red flags for a tendency to become abusive, if not already abusive. I would say proceed with caution. I would proceed with caution. I would question if I want to stay in this relationship. I would question if I would trust my safety with this individual. Because a person that wants control in that type of way can maybe sometimes make out of control decisions. And I want you to be safe. I am totally against abuse, and this has signs of abuse. So if I was you, I would proceed with caution or either get out of the relationship totally. All right. So that's a big sister moment. If it was my little sister, I'd be like, hey, be careful. You might want to pull back a little bit. Just letting you know. All right. Next question. Let's go. These are getting good. All right. How to get girls, so this must be a friend, how to get girls to not have sex with every boy they come in contact with. How to get girls not to have sex with every boy they come in contact with. So, unfortunately, sex could be used as a coping mechanism. And I know a lot of times we want to get judgy. If you're a person that's not, maybe you're still a virgin as a teenager, maybe you have a few partners, and you see someone who has a lot of sexual partners. A lot of times we will want to get into the judgmental seat. But I would say it's never time to judge someone because you never know how they got to where they are. All right. It's never okay to judge somebody, in my personal opinion. And so, first, I would say don't be judgmental of them. But do understand that a lot of people use sex as a coping mechanism to fill a void of something else that's broken. There's several reasons why a person could have several sexual partners at such a young age as a teenager. And here's the thing, we don't know. But if you are their friend, I will ask questions. Maybe they are dealing with some rejection issues and they just want to feel enough or accepted or validated. And they're using their body to get that attention that kind of feeds that void. Now, it's a temporary fix or a temporary feeling that they get. It doesn't fix the root issue. But as a friend, now you can go in and say, hey, let me take this as a moment to affirm my friend, to remind them of their value, to remind them of their worth, to speak life into them, not to be like, oh, girl, you got all these, man, what's your count? What's your count? This ain't the moment to judge them for their count. This is the moment to love on them and have a real conversation with your friend or your sister and be like, listen, girl, you are worth more than all these counts, and letting people just have all this access to you. You're more valuable. I want you to have sexual integrity. Everybody shouldn't have access to your body, right? But then just begin to love on them, speaking to them, making sure they're using protection, all these different things. Because if you don't, and you come in a judgmental way, they may shut you down and not want to hear it. When really your role as a friend, because you asked me this question, you care, is to love on them and show them that you care. All right. But just know that a person that's a teenager is having sex with a lot of people, it's a deeper root to the issue. And so as a friend, It's your responsibility to love on them, be there for them, affirm them, remind them of their value, remind them of their worth, and eventually your words, I believe, will get through to them. All right? But don't judge them and walk in love. All right? Next question. Next question. What do you do if you feel really low about yourself and you just want to be like your friends, like have boyfriends and stuff? This is exact wording, but you just don't feel pretty about yourself. Ah, man, you don't feel pretty. I've been there. Jesus, women. Let me tell you about girls and women. Like, society put this like pressure on us to look a certain way, to dress a certain way, to be built a certain way, which is impossible. It's impossible for a gene to replicate the same being a billion times. It's just impossible. You have twins, identical twins. They're born. They have something different about them. Why? Because none of us were meant to be the same. And so you really have to ask yourself this question: who are you comparing yourself to? And you told me in the question that you're comparing yourself to your friends. You are not your friends. Your friends. But here's the thing: just because your friends are getting all this attention, that's great. And you celebrate them as long as it's healthy attention. But just because you're not getting the attention doesn't mean something's wrong with you. Sometimes we feel like because we're single that something's wrong with us. We're not good enough. I must not be pretty enough. And then we go down this downward spiral of insecure, inadequate thoughts. And that's a trap. Because here's the thing: you do not want your validation to come from somebody wanting you. Because the moment that somebody doesn't want you, or it feels like somebody doesn't want you, then your significance will go down with that. You never want to put your significance in the hands of another human being. Whether I'm single, married, in a relationship or not, I am enough, and so are you. And you got to know that about yourself. Even as a single individual, don't allow your singleness to make you think that something's wrong with you. It's nothing wrong with you. It's just not your season for that. Maybe this your season to focus on growing as a person. Maybe this your season to focus on your purpose. Maybe this your season to get your grades up. Or maybe this your season to study for that test so you can get into that university that you've been talking about. Or to get your shots up so you can make it to the league. I don't know what it's your season for, but God does. So you just have to embrace what season you in and not allow your season to get you to question your value and your worth. Being single don't mean something wrong. Being single means it's just not your time to be in a relationship, and that's okay. So you just got to know, never put your significance in the hands of somebody desiring you or voicing that they want you. You're much more than anybody else's opinion of you. God thought of you enough to make you, so you enough. Remember that. All right, next question. These are great questions. I can't wait to get some more. These are great questions. All right. What if your mom is verbally abusive because she feels as if she's the adult and it's her way or no way? I gotta be real with y'all. Lately, I've been getting a lot of mama abusive, a lot of mama toxic questions. Let me first say this. I apologize on behalf of your mom. If you are in a relationship that is toxic with your mom or abusive, I want to apologize to you. It's not your fault. I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. So if you are in those type of relationships, I want to say you still loved and you still valuable and you still are going to be an amazing mother one day to break that cycle, right? Secondly, I want you to kind of step back and make sure that you really are in a toxic or abusive relationship, and maybe it's not just a situation where you're misunderstanding your mom. Sometimes some conflicts can be solved by just sitting down having a conversation. I remember really quick, I told y'all I was a teen mom. I was born to a teen mom, and my mom is only 16, 17 years older than me. And when me and my mom, when I was younger, she was really strict on me about boys. Why? Because she didn't want me to repeat the cycle. And so I remember having a conversation with my mom when I was 14, and it changed everything because I was able to say, Mom, I'm going to be responsible as you allow me to date within your boundaries. And she was able to express to me the fear that she had of not wanting me to get caught up like she did, even though she always told me, I never regret having you. I just regret the time. And so I never felt like I was a mistake. But I also understood that she didn't want me to have to bear something so great of a responsibility before I was ready. And so, with us having that conversation, I get why she used to say, who that boy calling? No boys calling, all that kind of stuff she had in place for a while. And then the more we talked, the more she laxed her rules, the more we began to trust each other's judgment and decisions. And I was able to date and do all those things in high school and not have to hide it from my mom. And it changed the trajectory of my life because now me and my mom, even as an adult, I could talk to her about anything. So maybe you need to sit down and have a conversation with your mom. And here's another thought. Maybe you need to sit back and see what your mom is experiencing. A lot of women out here right now are broken. Not because they want to be, but because they're going through hardship. Maybe they are struggling on their jobs. Maybe they don't make enough money to take care of you, and it's causing them, and they don't know how to process the emotions of that, and so they're taking it out on you, or it feels like they're taking it out on you. Maybe they're in an abusive relationship with a significant other, and they're projecting. So it's a lot of different things, but sometimes you have to step back and see where your parent is so that you can offer them grace as well. And you can see what ways can I be more obedient, more respectful, so there's a lot of dynamics. I wish I knew the exact details of your relationship with your mom, but I want you to take all those things into account. But I do want to apologize if you are in an abusive relationship with your mom. And if it's severely abusive to where your life is in danger, please get a trusted adult involved. You should not be in a home where you are being abused and your life is in danger. So I do want to say that please get a trusted adult involved if your life is in danger. But if you and your mom are just having a normal conflict that is kind of emotionally painful, maybe consider sitting down with someone else, a mediator, a therapist, a counselor, or even one-on-one with your mom and having a conversation and work towards reconciliation. Because my goal is for you to have healthy relationships with your parents. All right. I know that was a longer answer, but I wanted to make sure I hit that in a way because I understand the value of having a healthy relationship with your parents. Okay. All right. Next question. Let's see. These are great. Ooh, these are so great. Is it abuse if your girl scratch you in your face and you hit her back and y'all both girls? All right, let me tell you. Okay, so this is for a lesbian teenage couple. Here's what I want to tell you about abuse. Abuse is abuse. I don't care if it's a heterosexual relationship or a homosexual relationship. Abuse is abuse. If someone is putting their hands on you and you're putting your hands back on them, that is physically abusive. And I know you kind of feel that way. That's why you asked that question. And I know you kind of said, well, we're both girls. Yeah, y'all are both girls. But here's the thing. Just because y'all are both girls doesn't mean that y'all have to be unhealthy or have unhealthy tendencies. All right? Abuse is never okay. That's something that here's the thing about it. I'm going to say it like this. There are certain things in my relationships that are non-negotiables. My parents taught me this. You have to have non-negotiables, meaning that this will never fly. I come to the table, I let them know how I plan to add value to their life, but I also let them know what my non-negotiables are. Hey, I do not do putting your hands on me. You put your hands on me, I'm exiting the relationship. Period, point blank. There ain't no, we can play around that gray area. No. Don't put your hands on me. All right? Don't call me out my name. There's certain things that I have very strong values about because I grew up around domestic violence. So I have a non-tolerance for that. So they are non-negotiables because what they do is trigger me and trigger childhood trauma. I know this about myself, so I communicate this in a way where I do not accept abuse. But on the other hand, I also, because I heard you say you hit them back, or you hit them sometimes, I also lead with what I want in return. So if I'm asking someone not to be abusive towards me, I can't be abusive towards them, whether it's with my words, whether it's with my emotionally being abusive towards them, or whether it's physically. All right. I can't ask someone not to put their hands on me, but I'm putting my hands on them. So hold yourself to the same standard that you want someone to treat you with. But abuse of any kind, no matter the type of relationship, is not okay. All right, next question. So listen, How do you not let depression stop you, and how do you grow and achieve your goals? This is good. I've been talking to a lot of young people about depression lately. And so I know it's real. I'm not one of those people like, you just a teenager, you're not going through nothing. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You got feelings, you got emotions, you've seen things. I do not belittle or diminish how you all feel and what you're going through. So, if you are depressed, first thing I want to say is find somebody that you trust. Go to a trusted person so you can really talk through getting to the root of the depression. The root of my depression was definitely feeling like a failure, identifying as a failure. It was really, 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 really hard for me to, think that I was even good enough. I dealt with some rejection, people, not wanting me in the way that I wanted them to want me, and different things, and I wasn't achieving my goals, and all these different opportunities of feeling like I wasn't enough piled on to the lie. Because here's the thing, it was a lie. I was always enough. I was never a failure. Even when you make mistakes in life, you're not a failure. You're just learning forward. You're just taking in a lesson that's going to be greater for you in the future when you go through a similar experiences, because now you have the wisdom on knowing what to do. But I associated my mistakes. I associated people's opinions of me. I associated people not wanting me with the idea that I was a failure. And that thought tormented me into a depression until I felt like my life wasn't worth living anymore. And so with that being said, you have to get to the root of it. You have to get to the root of the depression. And sometimes that's why you have to go to a licensed counselor or a therapist that helps you figure out what's the root cause. Now, we know that there are chemical imbalances that also come to play. That's where some doctors may recommend medicine to help your chemical imbalances get back properly balanced. But there's also, most of the time, there's an emotional, there's a thought process, there's a traumatic experience that happened that triggered the depression. And so getting with a licensed person to help you figure that out and know that depression is not the end of you and that you can achieve your goals, right? You can achieve your goals. So just know this is not the end for you. All right. And then the next question, what's the secret to a healthy relationship and a healthy marriage? Listen, the secrets to a healthy relationship, again, I'm going to go back to a question I said earlier. Make sure you're developing a healthy you. You can't be in a healthy relationship if you're not healthy. What does healthy look like? Making sure you know who you are, making sure you know your value, making sure you know you're significant, making sure you treat yourself and speak to yourself with kindness and love and grace, right? Making sure that you have boundaries, making sure that you have standards. These are healthy things that you can do for yourself, right? Making sure you understand your purpose, what it is that you want to do. And if you don't understand it, start asking yourself more questions, knowing your personality, different things like that, learning you. Now, how do you have that with another person? Coming to the table, getting to know that person, understanding their strengths, understanding their weaknesses, seeing how you could create a dynamic where you exchange strengths for weaknesses, being a healthy team, creating dynamics like that, making sure there's no abuse in the relationship. All those different things matter when developing a healthy relationship, right? And so I just believe that healthy relationships are possible. Here's another key that I don't think people talk about enough. Making sure you're compatible and making sure you have healthy conflict management skills, because conflict is normal and it's going to happen. And if you two can learn how to navigate through conflict without harming each other, man, your relationship will stay healthy. And lastly, making sure you're compatible. A lot of people get with people that they're not compatible with. And it's not just about spiritually, also making sure you're compatible with your personalities, your vibes, your swag, some of your interests. Not everything has to be the same, but making sure you're compatible to where you like the person. You have a great friendship with the person. You like to be around the person. All those things matter when developing a healthy relationship. And I'm wishing you all the best and healthiest relationships. So listen, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Fly Life Podcast. We have so many more episodes coming. Again, I have been mentoring young people, man, for the last 15 years. Not only that, I am a certified life coach. I've been mentoring and running Fly Life since 2010, so 13 years now. And I love what I do. So I am coming to you with some experiences. But here's the thing, the most important thing that I want you to get out of this is knowing that you are enough and that your life has a purpose and that you're going to do dynamic things. And remember that you were created to be fly inside out. This is your girl Fly checking out for the first episode of the Fly Life Podcast. I'll see you next time. Make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, and we'll check you later. Peace.
Bitch can't do it like me. Ay, fresh like a new white tee. Fly life, we gon' eat. Fly life way too deep. It's giving fly. I'm throwing fists. I'm in my bag. I'm too